Welcome to the Nearly Enlightened podcast, a high vibe toolbox designed to help you connect to your body, mind, and spirit. I am your host, Gianna Girusso, and I'm here to share tools, conversations, and insights to help you on your journey of self discovery. This podcast is all about exploring what it means to live a conscious, connected, and nearly enlightened life because the truth is the answers aren't outside of us, they're already within. Let's dive in. So if you're on YouTube, you can watch us today, which is really exciting. I'm here with Danielle from Venus Rising. We are in her office at Soul Sanctuary.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us because your studio or your office is so pretty. So if you're watching, enjoy this tranquil space.
Thanks.
So we've talked since that last episode, I think, but we had an episode when TTPD came out and Taylor dropped a new album. So it's only fitting that we're here to dissect this new album.
Exactly. I know. I have mixed emotions and mixed thoughts on
I know
it,
you said that from the beginning.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to get the album up and let's just go through it song by song because I think that's what it deserves.
Yeah.
First I want to talk about, so on this past Saturday, I did a Taylor Swift themed yoga class and I had an old playlist in the past, like all of her sing-along hits and some of my favorites. And I was just going to throw in a couple of songs from Life of a Showgirl and use that playlist and call it a day. But my intuition was speaking to me on Friday night and it was like, make a playlist that is TTPD versus Life of a Showgirl and let the class theme be like, let life ebb and flow as it does and stay centered. Like life is going to be good, life is going to be bad, and everything in between. And like, how do you ebb and flow?
Right. No, I love that.
And so that is what, if you want the playlist, I can link it in the show notes because it's some of my finest work, I have to say.
I'll take it.
And yeah, it just goes to show like she was in this. I mean, clearly TTPD was like
depression bops.
Yeah.
Like she was going through it.
She was going through it. She was going through a breakup. And I don't think it was just even about breakup, but just like
life in general.
Yeah.
And I think people could relate to that because the past 5 years and like obviously now is probably like maximum like depression for people and feeling of hopelessness, and there's just a lot going on in the world. So I think that album might have been more relatable for a lot of people. And even people who are like seemingly happy, I don't think they really are truly that happy right now. So this new album being like so perky and just like
pop.
Simple.
Is it though? Because I think there are some
songs like Ruin the Friendship.
Yeah.
Is still sad.
And a little dark.
Yeah, it's a little bit dark.
It's about somebody who dies and like seemingly maybe suicide.
Right. I think it was a drug overdose. I did see on like TikTok that, you know, some people make it a real career to like deep dive. And I think it's so funny. But for me, I'm like, okay, what am I scrolling through? Because what am I believing and what am I not? And like at the end of the day, it's none of our business unless she wants to tell us.
But, right. And it's art. So it's like up for interpretation. And that's, I think, so I wasn't a Taylor Swift fan for so long. And then I was going through it when TTPD came out and it was so relatable that I felt like she was like reading my diary.
Yes.
Or like reading my journal.
Yep.
And I think that's why it became so meaningful to me and how I like truly became a fan. And like, it's hard not to because, you know, say what you want about her, but she kind of is like a decent role model, like not glorifying or putting anyone up in this, like I don't believe celebrities should be idolized. Like I believe that is literally a sin. They're like remembering that they're just humans and just like appreciating her for the business mastery and the artistry that she provides, I think is where I'm at.
Genius. I think like I mean, obviously she has a team, but like the way her mind works, and I love like pattern recognition. So for me, I'm like, how did she come up with this? Because for me, I see like clues later on, especially what I do as a shaman is like I'm looking for pattern recognition between like all dimensions. And so when she comes out with a new album, I'm like, oh my God, the amount of Easter eggs. It's like I like to get to the bottom of things. So for me, I'm always super intrigued of like, okay, how does this connect to this past album? And for me, and I did see someone else was saying this theory, is I do think that each song kind of did also sound like another album of
Yeah.
hers or like another song. And I'm like, what song is this? And I haven't quite figured it out yet. But they also did sound like she sampled like
Yeah, yeah,
other
yeah.
songs. So a part of me is like, was this whole album a dupe? Like to dupe us? And like start like her being sarcastic and basically being like, this is basic pop.
It is basic pop, but I,
Yeah.
as like a former 90s pop girly, like I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah. It did take me a couple listens to like it at first glance. Like I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Friday when it came out, and it came out obviously at midnight, but I'd rather wake up early than stay up late.
Yeah.
So I woke up and I had put a little note in my phone, like, listen to the new album. And I turned it on and I was just like, not here for it. I'm like, maybe it's too early. I don't know. I
I
got
know.
in
I
the
remember
car.
you messaged me and you were like,
Yeah,
I don't think I like it. And I was like, ooh,
I know. But then I
I was
got in the
shocked.
car and I was like, all right, this has to be like, I got to be alone in the car. I got to be driving. You know, you have to be going at least 50 miles an hour to really get into a song sometimes. And so I had the windows down and I was like, all right, I can get like on board with these. They are catchy songs. And
Catchy. Like you feel like the first time I listened to them, I felt like I already knew the words. Like
yeah,
I don't know why. It was like very weird experience.
exactly. Exactly. I don't know. But I ended up like, I like most of the songs. Some of them I'm like, whatever. My
Let's go
favorite.
through
Yeah,
them.
let's go through them because
So
I think they're all different,
they're all so
even though they all
different.
sound very similar.
And um, the Fate of Ophelia. So first song on the album. Um, my initial thoughts on this one was it kind of had a sad, even though it's like poppy and upbeat, it still kind of
Yes.
has a sad undertone because if like
Yeah.
um so it comes from Hamlet, Shakespeare play, and Ophelia, one of the main characters. And in the play, Ophelia dies, and it's kind of like, did she commit suicide? Was it
Right.
an
She drowned.
accident? Was she drowned?
Yeah.
And so like, and it leaves it up for interpretation in the play. And I thought it was interesting for her to name a song by this. And like she talks about in the beginning that she could have drowned in her melancholy. And I think it's referencing the time of TTPD of like how she was feeling.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But I also think it's like her most poetic song on the album because who really like thinks up these concepts and
No, it's so
then
deep.
writes a song about it? I'm like, oh my gosh, like just the way her mind works is very fascinating and interesting. And, you know, she did say, because I went to the release party at the movie theater, and she did say what each song was about. And she was saying that she just loves Shakespeare and that he's like still like underrated. And she just loves it and thought, wow. And of course, it probably relates to her on a personal level,
Yeah,
as it does to all
definitely.
of us.
I'm
And
reading a lyric right now that says, "You dug me out of my grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia." And
yeah,
it's just talking about like how she was in this deep, dark place. And then,
yep.
like, not that it's always about a man and like finding love, but she talks about it in a song later in the album about like not believing in marriage, but that was a lie. And I think it's a lie that a lot of women in our generation have told ourselves.
Absolutely. And I said it to you and I'll say it again. It's like that fear of rejection. It's like the rejection protection. And everyone's like, I don't think I want this. It's like, well, are you hopeless about it? And you're saying, I don't think I want it because you don't think it will happen? Or are you just like in a place of feeling hopeless? And I think a lot of women are right now because we spend so much time on the internet. We have so many different stories. We have so many different world events going on where there's just this imbalance of power or anger that women have towards men, rightfully so. And we got to figure out a way to process, and we got to figure out a way to release this fear so that we are not perpetuating fear out in the world. And it's like, I love Taylor Swift because I feel like she always comes out with how we're feeling at a collective level, or like kind of what we need. And what we need right now is some positive reassurance. But I think there's mixed emotions, especially like myself as like a single person. I'm like, is this like, I know it happened for her, but now that it's happened to her, like, are people feeling left behind? Does that make sense? Like, I think some
because she was
people
like this icon of like
exactly.
single queen. Honestly, like I'm feeling
Mhm.
hopeful. Like, girl, if she did it,
Exactly. Well, and she's gone through it the most, and it's been public. So I think there's like social ridicule that people are addicted to. And we all have
yes, and
these,
she talks about that in the album too later on.
yeah, and we all have this like, you know, belief that society, whether it's conscious or unconscious, like we believe what society tells us, or there's these like unspoken standards. And if you're not meeting those standards, then you kind of feel like shit about yourself. And it's really hard. It's important to come back to your values. And what I appreciate about her is she is stuck with her values. She's like, I'm into music, like this is what I'm doing, and she's fully committed.
Right. She's scruples.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are not used to that in our
Right.
society. And um,
And she's come back time and time again, even when she has been socially ridiculed.
yep.
And that's really tough
She's like
because
the
you've been
queen of
letting,
canceled.
yes, yes, exactly.
But anyways, like this song kind of gives you hope, like he's coming for you. And like
Mm-hmm.
I think that deep down that's like what a lot of us want is a man. Like, look at what he did. He was like, before they were even together, he was like, Taylor Swift is my girlfriend,
Right,
and pursued her. And like so many people just want to be, or women want to be pursued consistently and have
right.
that like that person that's your rock. And she talks about it in this album.
And I think he's also a really great role model because, like, he's someone who will dance, and he's not a
Have
professional
fun.
dancer. He has fun. He will cry in public. Like, you don't see that. And you don't see just someone who's fully confident in themselves and able to hold space.
For a woman that
Right,
has that magnitude. I am
right.
so glad that you said this
Yeah,
because that is so intimidating to men. And like, again, like I'm going through it right now of like somebody being threatened by what I'm doing and like not being able to share space and to like
yeah,
kind of not like put me up on a pedestal, but just be proud of me and be like, wow, you're like going against the grain. You're creating something that didn't exist before.
right.
And you're not like doing this 9 to 5. You didn't take the safe route. And I'm proud of you. It's like the opposite. It's like you should go and get a steady 9 to 5 that's like safe and,
Yeah. And
whatever. And I think it speaks to the security of the man.
oh, absolutely. And again, social norms. What are they saying? I mean, I know I've personally like have dated people who when I was like, yeah, I was a licensed, I still am a licensed cosmetologist, but when I said I'm going to quit my full-time job and pursue the energetic stuff, they didn't understand. Like, well, you can always work in a salon. And it's like, okay, how about all right, anything you do is going to be okay. Like, where's the support in that? And I
Right.
think
If
that,
God puts it on your heart, then
yeah,
like there's a reason why it's been put on your heart. So yes, you should pursue that.
yeah.
And you should be, and not just a romantic relationship, but you should be surrounded by people who see that, value that, respect it, and support it.
Absolutely. And I mean, life is a mirror. So I think sometimes we do get that backlash because maybe it's I definitely was like, what the fuck am I doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm taking a chance here. I'm following this calling, but it is risky. And so sometimes people respond as a mirror of like, these are actually your thoughts. But on the other hand, yes, we have people who are like, this is like not safe because it's not going with the grain and you're going against the grain. Or but sometimes it's like, am I even going against the grain? It's just it is what it is. But I think that there's a lot of people who out there who do get like full support, and you don't have to always understand what someone else is doing, but you should respect it.
Yeah. And I think that this relationship definitely highlights that. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's come out and said, like, no, I don't know all of her songs, but he was at the most of her shows
Right.
just like on the sidelines, singing, dancing, and being a supportive partner. And that is such a beautiful thing. And I think it really does need to be celebrated now because, like, look, we're looking at marriage, there's no sanctity in it anymore. Everyone's like,
Right.
oh, well, we'll just get divorced. And
Hmm.
divorce has become like a common breakup. And it's like, that's not what marriage was meant to be. It is a sacred covenant between two people. And we have really lost sight of that. And I think, another pop culture moment that's happened in the last couple of weeks, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban breaking up.
Right.
It's like, that one kind of rocked me because it's like, it's sad.
I think you
They,
texted me about it, or someone texted me about it, and I was like, "What?" Because I'm just like not up on them, and I feel like once you get an algorithm on social media,
yeah,
this
there's
is
no,
your algorithm, and like you're gonna get 8 million videos of the same thing,
yeah,
and don't think about getting anything else. And but yeah, I mean, I think it's also hard. Like speaking for myself personally, it's really challenging to even like consider like being in a relationship, even with friends. It's like, do you easily get like wrapped up in what these other people's expectation of you is, or like what you're, I don't know. I think there's this hyper independence, but then there's also like, we are human and we need connection. And now we've kind of told ourselves all these stories like, I'm better off without this person. This person's been holding me back. And instead of like, I mean, there's a lot of relationships that I just think are not a match. And maybe things are not like, we know for a fact that nothing lasts forever. And maybe this is just the way it is. Like for me, I'm like, are you really supposed to be with the same person forever? Like your whole life? It's say you get married at 20. Are you really supposed to be with that person forever? I don't know. I just think, like we were saying, life ebbs and flows. And I think that maybe we live out of fantasy, or at least I know that's one of my fears is like, is this all in my head? The things that like I want and I dream of, is this not reality? Because then sometimes when we are in the reality of things, it's like, wow, is this really what I wanted? Because this doesn't feel exciting, or this is not satisfying, or this still doesn't feel safe. So I don't know. I think the same goes with relationships, with where you want someone, and we'll get into wish list when we get through this album. But yeah, it's like you want just someone who is going to be supportive and who you can be friends with, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. And she talks about that too.
Yeah.
But I think that this kind of segues into Elizabeth Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
because in this song, Elizabeth Taylor famously like many, many husbands
Mm-hmm.
and many, many partners. And like you said, is I don't know, is that the way it's supposed to be? Is it supposed to be so easily thrown away? Or like, can you spend this earthly plane with the same person? I don't know. I go back and forth about this too. I think for the most part, like too many people aren't willing to look at their part of the patterns. And this is something that I'm going through right now. Like, I will be completely transparent. Like, some of the things coming up in my relationship now stem from my severe fear of abandonment. And anyone looking from the outside in are like, oh, well, her parents are still together. And like, she's had kind of like a cushy life. And
Yeah.
like, well, where does this come from? It's like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's like something that I'm working on currently. And I'm a projector in human design, so I feel like some of
So
the
you're
things,
absorbing everyone else?
well, I think also some of the things that people have put, so like I don't really believe in psychics anymore or like
Hmm.
seeking out that kind of information
Right.
because and I think we've talked about this in the past, or like I've definitely talked about it on the podcast, because I think it kind of writes something for you that you might not be able to erase. And like, even if you can erase it, like, with even pencil, like if you write something and you erase it, you can still kind of see that it's there.
Hmm.
Even if you use pen and you're whiting out, like you still know something was there that you went over. So
Well,
I
I think
feel,
you're just seeking outside of yourself an answer because you're
yeah.
afraid of the unknown.
And I think it like puts certain things, like sets certain expectations, and then you're always kind of chasing that in your mind. Like,
Yeah.
like once your mind looks for something, then it's like constantly looking for that and other things. It's like if you think about a blue car, then all of a sudden all you see on the highway is like six blue
Right.
cars. It's like the same thing. And, some people in the spiritual healing sphere, what they've told to me, imparted on me, is like, oh well, projectors should be alone. And I just think
Hmm.
that's so damaging. Like
Yeah.
if and if you're seeking information and if you're seeking answers or guidance, like I really caution you to beware of the practitioners.
I totally agree because I had a teacher who, when I was in school learning shamanic techniques and practices, that was like being a shaman is a very lonely road. And at times, yes, because it's very disturbing at times, the stuff that you tap into. We're working with entities, we're helping people with past lives, with their trauma, we're helping with some deep, dark shit. And it can be extremely lonely if you're not clearing yourself properly and you're not moving on. But that's absolutely, and I say this to my clients too. I'm going to use this as like a very broad example is people will come in and they'll be like, so what's going to happen with this? Or like with relationships or jobs, anything like that. And I'm like, I don't make predictions because you have free will. And I also am not going to tell you, oh, you're going to end up with this person. I'm always going to tell you, you have to align yourself with the person that you want to be. Because clearly, if you and this person broke up, you're not aligned to be together as this version of you because it's what pushed them away or that's the version of them. Like something has to change. So you need to focus on that transformation because I have gone to, oh my God, that's how I like got into this in the first place was when I was always obsessed with going like palm readers, tarot readers,
Yeah,
psychics.
same. I think it's like
I had to
that
know,
seeking
was it
energy.
going to work out? And then I went to my first shaman when I was 18 or 19 and I was like, she was like, honey, this is not what this is about. Your whole life is probably going to implode. I'm just giving you the warning because we're transforming what you don't want. You don't want these anxieties. You don't want to be wearing these masks anymore. You don't want these physical issues. So now we need to look at the stories you've been telling yourself. You have to be willing to let that go. So I really do encourage people, like, if you are struggling to with the fear of the unknown, it's what story you're telling yourself that is making it so fearful. What story are you latching onto from the past that's keep making you feel safe now that you can't move on or you're unwilling to move on from certain relationships or what you are just struggling to let go of. And it's not easy. It's not because we're like totally wired to have experiences and then we have all these components. It's not just the physical realm. We have the mental, emotional, we have the energetic realm, and then we also have like our spiritual side. So I keep saying, and like I will always go back to this, like you have to come back to like what are your values? That's what you want to seek out in another person. Someone who's going to respect those values. Maybe they have similar, but same with your friends, same with like family members that you're surrounding yourself with. We don't always have the choices that we wish we had, but we do have choices at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. I was like, I have to know what's going on. And I really haven't sought that out either. I just have been like, I need to trust myself. And I think a big part of relationship issues are that we don't trust ourselves and therefore, and it's not even like human relationship. Like this is like I struggle with it with my relationship with the universe. One minute they're like, hold my beer, I'm going to give you everything you wanted. And then the next week I'm like, I don't know if this is ever going to happen for me or like I'm a little bit and you're creating doubt. And then how can you manifest from a place from doubt? Or you're going to bring into your reality something that you don't necessarily want to see because that doubt is about to be proven for you to look at. So yeah, it's a challenge.
It
Being a
is.
human is a challenge. I'm
Yes.
not going to discount it. I have my own struggles mentally, physically, emotionally, just like everybody else.
Well, I think it's like what you were saying too. Like we're all going through it kind of like personally and in our like little spheres. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you look out nationally and globally, like
It's a shit show.
it is a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And this is a phrase that I keep using quite frequently lately. And it's like, this is all human created. And for me, like I just use different language, it goes back to God and free
Mm-hmm.
choice. And it's like the evil and the shitty things on this planet are not of God, of not of the universe, whatever you want
Mm-hmm.
word you want to use to describe it. It's literally of poor human choice.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think it's really kind of sad. And I think the older I get, the more I'm seeing that like it's literally just adults are just like her 8 year olds running around the world,
100%.
just like continuing to hurt other people. And it's just like, I don't know, stop it.
I
It's
know.
getting exhausting.
I know. And we are, the reality is like we are under the same collective consciousness, even though I think there is like a split happening. There's like so much energetically going on that there is so much chaos that I think we're all living in some sort of fight or flight. And it's really difficult to regulate that. And so the most important thing is getting your nervous system as regulated as possible, spending time with yourself. Um, I listen to Lee Harris and like his energy updates monthly. And if you've never heard of him, check out his energy updates. But he was suggesting, even if you like read a book, spend 15 minutes with yourself, especially this month of October, because it just helps you reconnect to your inner self and your, like, it's almost like brings you into a meditative state where you can relax and calm. And I, for one, am totally addicted to fight or flight. If I am in the middle of the day, if I'm not going to bed or I'm not like getting a massage or something, then I'm like, whoa, am I going to fall asleep? Am I like completely disassociating because I don't feel ramped up? And it's a really tough pattern to break. And
Yes,
that's kind
because
of what we're doing.
cortisol spikes are addicting. The adrenaline spikes
Exactly.
are addicting. So we
Mm-hmm.
are literally addicted to stress. And this is what I talk about too,
Yeah.
is nervous system regulation. My classes on a lot of my classes now are slower based and they're based on nervous system regulation. Like we're doing slow rhythmic movements, we're
Mm-hmm.
working with the breath, we're taking like little mini shavasanas. So you're really meditating throughout the class. And we're working on nervous system regulation. And that class was really born out of my own need for nervous system regulation because I was teaching like
Yeah.
a million power yoga classes. And yes, yoga is a tool to help regulate your nervous system. But if you are constantly doing a hit style power yoga class, like
Mm-hmm.
you're actually ramping your nervous system up. And typically, I see that those are the people who can't meditate, who
Right.
can't relax, who like can't even sit still for 3 minutes in shavasana. And I think it's interesting to look at, can you sit and be quiet and be alone with yourself and nurture your nervous system?
Yeah,
Or
it's
are you
uncomfortable.
addicted to that fight or flight state? And we've kind of like deviated now. But going back to like Elizabeth Taylor, like I think it's just this stigma that's put on women who have like dated men
I mean,
throughout
think
their
about
life
it. This is
and
all
had a
she's
lot of
remembered
failed
for.
relationships. Yes, failed
This is
relationships.
the biggest thing that she is remembered for, that she was married, what, 8 times?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, she was very creative. Wasn't she an actress?
Yeah,
Like, think about
actress,
all, like,
model.
she was so successful with all like business. And I mean, I guess her relationships kind of reflect like she was an entrepreneur. She was doing all these different things, modeling, acting. At the end of the day, like, she's her own business and it's her name that is famous and not necessarily like the things that she did. And I think that's so probably relatable for Taylor because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, Taylor Swift is a business. Yes, she is also a human, but she is a business. And I was telling you that I didn't know how it sat with me, but it's like good for her. But I think that there's just so much pressure and distrust with like the wealth gap right now that there's a lot of divide of like no one should be a billionaire or that. And it's like,
Well, now
for
we
one
have
thing, she
people.
earned it. We
Well,
all bought her shit, and that's how she became a
I feel like
billionaire.
I feel like billionaires are going to be the new millionaires because now we're on the verge of having
Right, trillionaire.
trillionaires
Yeah,
like Jeff
exactly.
Bezos and Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is going to be the first person to do it. It's the
Yeah.
last thing I saw about it, but I haven't like looked any further into it. But it's like what you're saying. It's like, oh, being a
Mm-hmm.
millionaire used to be the standard before of like comfort and wealth. And now like being like, this is crazy, but being a millionaire is like average.
Exactly. There's so many. But I do think that for like, let's call it like the middle class or whatever, that it's not sitting well with us because Taylor used to have much more struggles and like before she was like a billionaire, even though like she earned it, she performed for
Girl's been
3 hours
working
a
since
night.
she was like 13 years old.
Exactly.
Like,
But people are like kind of up in arms. And I thought
see,
this
I
was,
haven't seen this, so
I
it's
thought
an
this was
interesting
good
take.
marketing. But from my understanding, she has like a bunch of songs that she did acoustic, but she did like 5 variations of the album. So I think to get all of the acoustic songs, you had to buy the different albums to have the complete collection.
I think the vinyls too all had like different covers or something
Yes,
like
they
that.
did. So I'm like, uh, it was
Is she
just
taking
a
advantage or is it brilliant marketing?
right. And I think it's a little bit, I think it's both. I think that I don't think she would consciously take advantage. I think she is just doing it because she can. But now it's becoming less relatable. And I think when she got engaged, we were all like, oh my God, there's hope. And now it's like she's reached the peak of the mountain. And now we're like, oh, we can't see her anymore because we're not relating. It's like she's now moving into, I saw an interview with her, and she was basically saying that, you know, she's very lucky because most people are in this bubble of who they surround themselves with. And basically, she doesn't have to worry about that. She's just inviting everyone she knew to her wedding. Basically, what she was saying was, I have money, so it's not an issue. I don't have to limit myself. And like, that's great. However, most people are feeling extremely limited right now, and things like that feel unobtainable. And that's of one mindset. The other mindset is like, wow, she did it. We can do it too. Like, what a feeling that you don't have to worry about limiting yourself. What a feeling that you can invite anybody you want to your wedding, that you can have it anywhere you want. Like, what a feeling that that would work out. I don't know. It's just two different mindsets, and it's not easy to like train your brain to go somewhere else. And I do think that's where the divide is like clearly evident, is that a lot of people are feeling extremely limited and they're angry about it because what happens when you feel limited? You feel trapped. And even though, like for me personally, like I've still been shown like you don't need money to get what you want from the universe, but is it still satisfying? And
Hell
that,
yeah. This is
right,
something we've talked about before. Like, you
exactly,
can't do anything without money. You can't change the world without
right.
money. You can't help out a
Mm-hmm.
friend or a neighbor without it. Like, I have, so speaking of lovers past, this is actually kind of funny, but lovers past, somebody used to say to me, money is just green coupons that buy comfort. And
Right.
that's something that's like kind of stuck with me because as a healer, it's a very complicated relationship with money, right? Like you think you
Yes.
should be of service and you want to just like help the world.
But like, at what
At,
point do you take like a vow of poverty for that? Like, we're
right,
not nuns.
right, right. And we still need to like we can't take care of others unless we're taken care of. And
Right.
going back to centuries past, spiritual leaders were taken care of by the community
Mm-hmm.
and they might not have been wealthy or millionaires, billionaires, whatever, but they were taken care of.
Right. And we were just talking about this. I think it comes back down to what are your values? Like, for me, leaving a full time like career behind the chair, making 6 figures is like, okay, well, I value my relationship with my family and I want to be there. I want to be the one who can take the day off without having to worry about canceling 12 people who are going to be mad because they're also on a timeline. Like, you couldn't even take, I didn't even feel like I could really take a day off to go to the doctor because it would have completely messed up my schedule
Yeah.
anyway. And so that was obviously a world I created for myself, and that may not necessarily be true if I were to do it again. But my value was in being there for my family. and being close to them and being able to take care of my nieces. I know you take care of your niece too.
Yeah.
It's like,
And this is
I want
something
to
I
be the
can
one.
definitely relate to because I have lived far away from family in the past, like almost
Hmm.
3,000 miles away. So if something was going down here, like it took me a minute to be able to get on a plane and to travel literally
Yeah.
across the country. And then got brought back to here to Rhode Island. And now my pattern of running is it's rearing its ugly head and I am
Yeah.
feeling that need. I keep saying this to friends and I don't think I've said this on the podcast and it's kind of dark, but like I'm in a place right now where I want to fake my death and run away and like
No,
start over and like
yeah.
be a witch in the forest and just like literally be alone. Like that's kind of where I am right now because I do feel like this
Hmm.
hopelessness that I think was so relatable in TTPD and like I love this album Life of a Showgirl because it's like everything I aspire for, like
Right.
to be taken care of, to have a successful business,
Hmm.
to have a person you can count on. And I think Taylor like has a lovely family and
Yeah.
like same. So like I love being around for my family. I can't picture leaving my niece, but like I am
Right.
having these moments of like, wow, I could fake my death and run away and like
Mhm.
just be done with all of this.
Yeah, because it feels easier
It does.
than actually trying to figure out how to live. But I think it also comes back to like, I've even realized this a lot about myself is like we wrap ourselves so tightly up in our self-worth based on money. What are we earning? And so I think especially people in service, if you're not busting your ass and like over giving and like working 12-hour days back to back clients, then we feel like, what, how did we earn this? And I think it's really difficult. But then we're like, well, we need money to live. And then you get it and you're like, but life's more expensive. So I think I need more. And then it's just this vicious cycle of self worth and like, do I deserve this? And it's also like, as a service provider, like what's the cap? There's like I've seen like there's just so many splits. And I even saw like and I think it's reflective of like how some people are feeling about Taylor's album and like people being pissed off that she's a billionaire. And then I saw a video on TikTok of this girl complaining about hairdressers who are complaining about not being busy because they charge too much. And it's like, I know the product's not that expensive. It's like if you're sitting with someone for 3 hours, this
It's your
is
time.
it's
Like,
the
what is
time,
your
it's
time
the
worth? And your education. I go back
right.
to this with yoga all the time. Yoga teachers are paid shit. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that, like, one of my first mentors in the sphere said was like, oh, well, you have to have something else because you can't make money
Mm,
being a yoga teacher. And I just think that is unacceptable. It's
right.
unacceptable, especially when certifications cost a minimum like
Of
a fee.
thousands.
Yeah,
I paid
2,500
I paid
minimum.
$9,000 to go to school to take a class to become a shamanic practitioner that took 1 year. And it was priced, they basically priced it like it would be like a college credit,
Yeah.
which is totally understandable.
Yes.
And I have years. I mean, I probably spent another 7,000 on one-on-one. It I'm probably in it for 20 something thousand
Yeah, same
dollars.
up there.
And
Yeah.
then people just come around and they're like, and of course people are intuitive, people know, they have their own relationship with themselves, and I trust that they are ethical and that they're coming around and saying like, yes, I can help other people based on my own experience and healing themselves. But there's a lot of people out there that it's just so unregulated. And like, what's your background on in your understanding of like the psychological, the emotional, the physical well-being? I mean, it's really hard to, and people stand like, you got to stand behind your work. And it is about the education. If you think about Taylor Swift, she's been fucking educated. She's been through every scenario where she's been manipulated and she's been taken advantage of and she's been ghosted by a man. She's been,
I mean, just the
gaslit.
music industry alone is like, she was the first
Exactly.
person, well, not the first person, but she was one of the people that came out and said, like, these record execs, like they are taking advantage of young artists. Like
Mm-hmm.
she was the first person who really like came out and said that um and and started to advocate for artists' rights. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know. That's why a lot of these artists like have to tour as much as they do because that's the only way that
Right. And
they make
even when
money.
they're on tour, they're not really making that much money, depending. It's like you have to sell out a certain amount of tickets, I think, to
Yeah.
even make money.
Yeah.
I think you basically have to pay to rent the venue. And if you
And it's
don't make
not
that
just
money back, it's
music
your loss.
artists too. It's also like
Comedians.
comedians.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, the whole world is like, it's really
I think
a
we're in a huge
fucking money grab.
recalibration
Yeah.
period though. And I saw like a snippet of a video, like a reel this morning talking about like the full moon eclipse today and like what it means. And like, yeah, October is going to be kind of like buckle up. And
Yeah.
we're in an ending year. We're in a year number 9. So this is like a true culmination of like burying the old energy so that we can kind of be rebirthed into this new era. And the like solar storms that started 2 years
Oh my
ago
gosh. Yeah.
have everything to do with it. And the sun is like literally like its frequency is literally like kind of expanding out to support the awakening of consciousness right now.
It's literally 20 degrees warmer than the average today. Like
I know. Yesterday
temperature
I was on
wise.
the beach. It was 80 degrees out. It's October.
It's
It's
gonna be
New
80.
England.
Yes, I know. It's so weird.
I know.
But I mean, I also love warm weather.
I know.
But I
Same.
think it's,
I loved being on the beach. It was
but
the
I do
best.
think it's confusing to the natural cycle of life.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be in a time of death. And at the same time that things are dying off, like the leaves, there's like the harvest, like the end of the vegetables that we've been growing in our gardens and reaping that harvest and picking and digging up and the abundance that has been brought, but
And
all at
also
once.
squirreling away for winter.
Right.
Like ancestrally, our ancestors were preparing to survive the
Right.
winter.
Literally. I've sort of been doing the same. Like I've definitely been like accumulating things that like make me feel cozy at home. Like yesterday I finally repotted a plant I had not repotted in like 15 years, sadly, but I was like, all right, it's time.
It needs a little
And it
love.
felt so good. I was like, oh, all right, now I have like an extra plant in my living room. It's like one small thing that feels so cozy. And, but I was totally judging myself. Like, why am I sitting in the house? It's 80 degrees out. But like, we're all preparing for that inner winter where we're purging right now and we're going through the grief of the purge. We're releasing, there's a lot of shadows coming up. There's a lot of societal norms that are coming up and making us feel like we were in an illusion, that we were like basically robbed of what we thought and we believed. And it's a harsh reality. I think sometimes we've all accumulated this fear of like um what am I trying to say? We accumulated this like fear of a facade. Like, is this even real
Interesting that
life?
you
And
say
it's the
that.
same with relationships. So
Yeah.
I wonder, and
No,
even though
there.
Taylor hasn't said this, but like, what's her thought process in the back of her mind of like, is this going to fall apart? Because I think we
Yes.
all have this fear of
Like
impending
the
doom.
other shoe is gonna drop. Yes.
Yes.
So I'm also glad that you brought this up because this is something that I have been experiencing as well as somebody very close to me who I love and respect, who like I'm seeing now might not love and respect me and has been accusing me of like everything you do down to your career is a facade to make people think that you're a good person. This
Yeah.
is something that's been said
Right.
to me very, very recently.
Yeah.
And it
Was hurtful for number one.
it's hurtful. Yep, absolutely. Is it a mirror? Maybe.
Right.
Maybe. I'm honestly like on the other end of the spectrum where I don't think everything is a mirror. I think some people are just shitty people
Yep.
and they do things to hurt you when they feel backed into a corner. And this person is somebody that I was setting a boundary with that I didn't have a boundary with
Mm-hmm.
before. And I think they're feeling a little bit
Yeah.
hurt that I set the boundary and that I'm not willing to blindly follow without some leadership skills.
Yeah. And I think that we all are, maybe not all, but a lot of us are feeling like and I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. I was like, I feel like I'm having an identity crisis. And she was like, but what if you're having an identity awakening? And I think like what you're saying, because I know I've been like holding boundaries, especially with like my parents, who I haven't had a boundary with my entire life. And now it's like, wow, I have to make real grown up boundaries and set them. And their reactions and their responses are not going over well.
No, you see that her 8-year-old inner child come
And it's
out.
for me to be like, I'll keep my mouth shut now and I can be your mirror. I've said my 2 cents. This is how it's like, this is the boundary we're going to hold. And now I don't have to say anything. And it's kind of like for you, maybe with this person, it's their own inner feelings. But holding a boundary is deeply challenging. And then we don't feel like we are who we were.
Yeah.
But like my friend was saying, maybe you're having identity awakening. So maybe you're awakening to the fact that, okay, yeah, like my identity is like, this is what I do for work. And this is what I value. And
it's
this
not,
is,
I've said this on the podcast before. This isn't just a career for me. It just so happens that I made a career out of it.
It's a lifestyle.
It's even more than a lifestyle. It's like innately who I am.
Mhm.
Like it is, and not that like I am a yoga teacher. No, I am a spiritual leader and I am doing the best that I can. I am working through my own patterns and challenges and shadow side.
Yep.
And I think it's hard, and I know it's hard to be in a relationship with somebody like me because I don't necessarily expect you to do the same. Like you don't have to be. I actually, this is hot take. Like I'd rather have a finance bro than somebody who's in the healing sphere.
You. Yeah.
But I completely lost my train of thought where I was going with this. But
that's okay.
I think going back to the album and relating it this way is like I feel deeply what she's saying. Like she never thought it was going to happen for her, and there were all of these stigmas with like men that she's dated in the past, and that all of her amazing work has been boiled down, and same with Elizabeth Taylor, has been boiled down to like these men that she's spent a few years of her life with. And I feel that. And then later in the song, in the album, she talks about like, was it in Ruin the Friendship that she talks? What's the song that she talks about? I didn't believe in marriage, and that was a lie. I said I didn't believe in marriage, and that was a lie.
Was it Honey?
Maybe it
or
is
Wish List. It was Wish
I don't
List,
know.
I think.
Going back though, so we finished up Elizabeth Taylor. Opalite was another huge one for me, just because
it's definitely a bop.
It's a bop. It definitely is. But it talks about like
talks about crystals. We're like,
well, for me, I felt very almost attacked because it says, I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of trash.
Yes.
And like, definitely I've fallen victim to. And the person that I'm in a relationship now is somebody who I've like had a 15-year history with being like on and off with. And obviously like right now we're going through like a little bit of a recalibration period of like, are we going to be together? Aren't we going to be together? And we're definitely like going through it like personally and together. And this song is just, I felt attacked.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. And we do revisit relationships because what are we trying to like prove? Because I used to do the same thing when I was younger. I'd be like, oh, we're going to get back together. But like to prove what? Like, you know what I mean? And I think for many people it's different. But for me personally, I was going back to these relationships to prove like, see, rejection is not really a thing and people can change. And it was like me trying to prove that things can work out because it feels like when a relationship is ending, that nothing ever works out.
Yeah.
Even though we have all these other things in our life. And think about it, like life is an ebb and flow, like we were saying. And things end and things begin again. And Taylor Swift has had many albums that represent this
Yeah.
and what she's personally going through in her life. And, I think that's why it's so relatable, of course. But I personally have gone back and or stayed in relationships too long to try and prove, okay, this, come on, please, this prove to me that this can work out when really it's
For
just
me, I
not
think
right.
in this particular relationship, it's somebody who I loved deeply and
Mm-hmm.
still love deeply. And like when we first met, we didn't even know each other. And I was like, that's my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out on one date and I was like, this is my forever person. And then we've just had like this almost 15-year history of like kind of like these high highs and low lows, and like
Yeah.
something that Taylor also has talked about in her
Right.
albums in the past. And so I can like deeply relate to that. And for me, I have walked away from this person in the past after setting boundaries
Yeah.
and not being respected. And I think this time I really wanted to be like, I can stay and I will stay and I will show you that I can stay. And I think that I have been taken advantage a little bit of because of having that stance and that thought around it. And, I am 34 and I have been scared to say before that, yes, like what she says in wish list, like I want the house, I want the kids, I want like that nice little quiet life where
Right.
like we fall away from the world and we create this like little family. And I've always been scared to say that because of the way that I think that I was patterned and programmed through our generation of like this boss, you have to be this boss ass bitch and you have to
Mm-hmm.
like chase the career
Which we
and
talked about in Eldest Daughter.
yes. And that's something that hits home for me too. Like, I'm like technically not the eldest daughter because I have half siblings.
Right.
But I do have a lot of like eldest daughter energy of like, I was the one to go out and forge the path, and my brother and sister kind of like lived a little bit more safe. And I was always the one to like go out explore. Like I've lived all over the country and whatever, whatever. But yeah, that was another song that kind of like hit home for me. This album has, even though it's like seemingly a happy album, it made me cry so many times. And Wish
Mm.
List is definitely one of those. I know we kind of like skipped around a little bit. Actually, romantic is something that I think we can relate
Yeah.
to too. Like I have a woman in my life right now that I am trying to build a friendship with because seemingly we are going to be in each other's lives for a long
Right.
time. And she has just been so nasty and mean to me. And I kind of like this way that Taylor looks at it. It's like, oh, you actually love me. You're
Right.
actually
Exactly.
obsessed with me.
Exactly.
You actually want what I have.
Hmm.
And so yeah, this album is deeply personal to me. So the back end of this is like I want that so bad. Like I
Right.
want to meet, and not that like I'm looking at it like, oh, I have to be like Travis and Taylor. It's like no, it's
No.
the representation of what the union is. And like maybe it's not, maybe they fall apart in 3 years, 2 years,
Right.
2 months, maybe they never get married at all. But I just think like undoing a lot of my own patterns and knowing that there can be like a beautiful symbiotic relationship
Yeah.
that's like meant to nurture you, protect, and be a force where you come together and you're really both in your divine masculine and divine feminine, and you kind of rewire these patterns. Because I think the way that we help to heal the world is to raise families. And
Hmm.
like both of us, we're very involved aunties, and I think
Right.
even that kind of job is important,
Yeah.
it, because it does take a village. And I want to see the world change. I don't want my niece to grow up in the same bullshit that we grew up in. Like, I want her to know genuine people, to
Right.
know loyal people, to have people around her that aren't going to intentionally hurt her because of their stupid hurt patterns from
Exactly.
when they were a child. And like, they're just continuing it on. And
Yeah.
so, if this is a fucking facade, then so be it.
Right. Exactly. I don't know. Like I said, it always comes back to and hold on to the values of like now or with other people. And I always say, you want a match, not a mirror. Like if you're seeking a relationship, like you want someone who you can be friends with, I think. Like,
Yes, like what she says in Wishlist. She's looking for a best friend that she thinks is hot. Like, amen, sis.
also, like, someone who's doing their own thing.
Yes.
Like, great, together. The end all be all. And I do think that it's like she's very blessed because she does has obtained wealth and now she can be like, I get a house, everybody cuts off. But like they have super challenges like paparazzi and like no privacy and people stalking.
People on random podcasts talking about what they think your life is about.
But of course we're like not idolizing her, but we're like, oh my God, like there's I think that people appreciate her because she has been through it and she can articulate it.
Yes, and especially in this culture of like making everything look pretty with a bow and like life is always perfect and like you're looking for these like social media goals that like aren't real. She's kept it 100. Like like I
It those protected, like security wise.
and good for her, that's a boundary. Like she is the most famous person in the world. A little insight into her life. I mean, it's like, and I said this, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, and now we're going on, like, this podcast is over an hour and a half. Um, uh, if you're still listening, thank you so much. I forgot, I lost my train of thought again. Um, oh, I said it about TTPD. It's like, I felt like I was reading my own diary at the time. Like, I felt like it was just so real. Like, talking about going through a breakup that you never saw coming and yeah, like I've talked about it candidly on this podcast and so I get it. And so seeing this other side, it kind of like sprung hope with me and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be my manifestation tool that I'm going to use to like she obviously did it. I'm going to do it." And giving permission to be like, it's okay to say that you want this as a woman. It's okay to just want to be a mom. It's okay to just want to be a wife. And I never knew that that was okay before because there was always like this stigma on it. My mom was a stay-at-home mom and like I saw the stigma around it where it like wasn't valued, but it is the most important work and I've said that on this podcast before and I do believe that. So I think that seeing like the most famous person in the world, one of the biggest women business women of our time say like she just wants the house on the corner with the kids and the husband and the pretty family. Like, I just think it just gives like the ultimate permission for women like me who have been, I'm going to use the word brainwashed. And I know that's like a very powerful word to use, but have been brainwashed to see that as a lesser than.
And I think that it can mean whatever you want. We really need that. Clearly, they're not.
No.
We're seeing it, and society playing, playing, and communities have to come together.
Yes, it takes a village and not just to raise children, but we were meant to be in these communities and we've talked about it before we touched on it and I think at the beginning of the podcast we started to talk about it and I wanted to there's this old song by the DJ producer Armin van Buren and the song is called Alone and it is one of the most powerful songs like if you've been to my yoga class you've probably heard it before because it's been on my playlist literally for 10 years but it talks about we're so connected because of phones because of the internet but we're not actually connecting. Like we're it's very like we're avatars behind a screen, but we've lost the humanity, the like real human connection. And I know people like us, like we're just trying to get back to that real human connection. And I think that brings us, we can talk about wood, but you know, she's just so funny in love and like I mean it's also about reclaiming like healthy sexuality, being with this partner that's safe, and I think that's beautiful. But we can touch on that. I know Marissa's coming on the podcast and her and I are going to talk about this in like a different view of like her owning her sexuality and like being with a safe partner and all of that. So yeah, it's time. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, same.
And like 99,
I'm more of like a midnight girl.
I like midnight too. Like, I don't know. Very
But canceled is a great one. And I think especially for the healer community, like we can relate to this. Like a lot of us go back to our wounds of like the witch hunts and like where we burned, where we hung, where we drowned in the well. Um, and a lot of those wounds come up for healers when they're in this space. And I think canceled is a beautiful, like we can correlate them. Like she's talking about it in a different way, but like stepping out of this fear of being canceled because like everyone is going to be. I'm sure that as this podcast is creeping up in numbers every single week, like I'm sure the more people that listen, the more scrutiny I'm inviting in. And yeah, I mean, I can even think about times in my life where I've been canceled. Like 2020 was a huge cancellation for me. Lost 1,000 followers in like 2 days because of things that I said and things that I stood for. And I'm sure that something is going to come up in the future where it's going to be again. And you know, I yep, yep. And like I don't know one person in the healing sphere who hasn't felt this energy at some point in their journey. And honey is next. We're nearing the end. This is my fave too because it goes to that like full circle moment of like, oh, she's arrived. Like she, if you have listened to her from the beginning, this is all she's ever wanted. And like I can relate to that. Like I have said it on the podcast before, I'm a seeker. Like I've always seeking those deeper answers, the big spiritual questions. But also I think deep down I was afraid to say it, but I've been seeking this partner who is a rock, who is like solid and isn't going to go anywhere, who's just supportive and loving. Like say this to my partner all the time. Like, I'm not asking for a lot. I'm literally asking for communication and honesty. Like, that's really all that I need from you. It's being honest is really hard for some people. Yeah. Tell the truth. Yeah.
it's unfortunate. We all have our own thing, and it's not one person patterning is not better or worse than another. At the end of the day, we all are uncomfortable with certain emotions. We're uncomfortable with certain things, and we're having different experiences, but we do experience the same emotion.
Yeah. And learning to deal with them is like so important. And learning how to effectively communicate. I've talked about this before. I've been through break method. I think it's a great tool. It's a great therapy alternative that really breaks the pattern. So if you or someone you love are like that, we're all her 8 year olds running around. Like, I really believe the sirens, they're affirming, they're affirming this thought. I don't know if you'll even be able to hear it in the background, but it's okay. Um, so yeah, I think it's, again, I lost my train of thought. What the heck? Spirit is like, no, go in another direction. God, I hope so. God, I hope so.
Uh, and I know me personally, I'm always questioning how people are like speaking to me if they're like, "Oh, honey," or
If it's condescending or if it's genuine.
right. Yeah. Like, call you by your first name. Like, let's say your boyfriend called you babe all the time, and all of a sudden he's like Gianna. You're like,
Am I in trouble?
am I in trouble? And the same goes like, especially I think that calls you that.
Sweetheart. Oh, that's like,
Sweetheart.
see, my biggest pet peeve is when women do it, when they're like, love, beautiful.
It makes you feel like you're disingenuous. Maybe that's their personality that they call it like that, but it is kind of like, what? It's confusing.
Yeah.
And who would have ever thought? Like, I never thought of like my parents calling me honey or like sweetheart or something, and it being condescending.
My parents were never that way. It was always our first names.
Oh my god.
Or like when I was little, it was G or Gigi. And then
Okay.
as I got older, that kind of faded away.
Yeah.
And I mean, Gianna, it's like such a short name,
I
2
know.
syllables. Like, but yeah, I remember what I was saying now about breaking patterns. And I really think break method is a solid tool. And like I've linked it in the show notes before, I'll link it in this show notes. I think if you're if you're looking to break patterns, if you know, Busy talks about it as like, if you're tired of playing the ping pong game back and forth, like, how do you break away from this to create real connection? And one of the first things that she says in like the first module is don't end any relationship unless it's like completely unsafe and you're not safe.
Right.
But if it's something worth salvaging, like, yeah, let's salvage it. Let's do the hard work to salvage it. And I think that's where I am in my relationship right now. It's like, before I was willing to walk away, it's easy to leave. Easy to leave, especially when you have an abandonment issue, when you have a fear of abandonment and my pattern is to run and want to run away. Like that is the easy thing for me. Yeah. 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 But staying and working it out and seeking to understand is hard. That's the hard work. And how do you do it? I don't know. You find the tools. Like maybe it's break method, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's couples therapy, maybe it's anything. Yeah. And then that leads us to the last song of the album, Life of a Showgirl, which I actually think there's also like a bop, but also a sad undertone of like, this is the cost of, yeah, of being this famous. Oh, I love that.
And it's like people were questioning like, is she gonna go away for a while now? And she might, but she talks about like she's married to hustle now, and that's show business. Like she knows the life of a showgirl now. And what I wanted to say about like the healer community is I've said this a million times. I've talked to therapists about it, I've talked to other teachers of mine, and they're like, sure, we could go out and get another job. You could go out, you could work at the grocery store, but you're still going to be you. You will work at Walmart.
These things are still going to come up also. Like it's just in a different way. And
come up because that is you to the core. Just like if I went to go work at Walmart, I'd still be transmuting energy. I'd still be empathizing with people, and I would still be all the things I already am. So what are we running away from? Like you're just not going to do it. You're going to endure, and you're going to keep moving, and you're going to keep living the show, or keep living in this show that we, subscribe to when we came to Earth. I don't know why we all did that, but
many theories on this podcast. But I really think it just boils down with being able to like love and tolerate. And God gave us free choice so that He knew that we would make the choice to choose good. Because if you can't choose good here, then, and this is going to sound crazy, if you can't choose good here, then you're not ready for heaven because you're not ready to be around that all the time. If you can't choose it when things are hard, when it's harder to do the bad thing than it is to do the good thing, when it's harder to do um the thing that's right and moral, if you can't choose it when you have a choice, then like you're just not ready for that higher frequency. So I think that's why we're here. We're preparing ourselves for that higher frequency, and we're gonna keep coming back and trying until we can come back and hit that higher frequency by choice. Yeah, we're readying our souls for eternity. Yeah, that's like kind of a deep way to end this podcast.
Her worst album ever. She's a billionaire now. She shouldn't be any of these things. And or you can look at it and be like, wow, she got what she wanted. She's trying something new, and good for her.
And she's doing the work. Like she talks about it in this album. She's been hurt by proteges, like seemingly maybe Olivia Rodrigo. She throws like the ultimate dig in that song, which I think is fucking awesome. Um, but yeah, it hasn't like she's been cut by people, and she's also owned up to cutting people, and I think that is so relatable. We've all even like
we've all done it.
That's why, this isn't a facade. I'm not perfect. I'm still not perfect, even though I'm on this path. Like I still make mistakes. I'm, I seek, I'm actively seeking God right now in a very real way that I have never done before. I've been, like I'm an avid reader. And even though I've been reading like my fiction, nonfiction, all of those fun books, I have been ending my night every night with reading the Bible because I think that there's some deep spiritual insight there. And I've talked about this on the podcast before of like looking at the Bible instead of through Catholic Christian eyes, looking at the Bible through new eyes, like a spiritual lens. And so I'm ending my nights with this energy, this higher frequency because I am on the path of like seeking this higher frequency. So I'm not perfect. We're all sinners. We're all here trying our best with the information and tools that we have at this moment. And I'm actively seeking tools right now of support. So, I mean, if it is, yes.
Said her go-to is instead of being jealous of someone, she says to herself, love it for you, want it for me. So you can simultaneously be happy for someone and want it for yourself
Yeah.
instead of not wanting it for them or being jealous. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that
envy is a monster.
That's
I'm happy for her. I'm like, girl, if you could do it, the rest of us can. Thank you for giving me hope in a place, like in a space where I am in despair.
Absolutely. But what story are you telling yourself that it's not going to work out? Is it because you're a runner? Is it because you've been betrayed in the past? Is it because you're not hearing Taylor say that she's worried one bit about this relationship? She's very certain. He's very certain, and clearly they're communicating that they're both very certain because there's not one iota of doubt in this whole album. There's just not. She's reflecting and saying like, all right, should I kiss you and ruin the friendship? That's her only like thing about looking back in this album. So yeah, I think it comes down to like clearly they're having clear communication. They're both extremely confident in what they want and what they're discussing and what they're trying to co-create.
And she's getting dicked down in the best way.
Totally.
Like the way that we all fucking want it. Good for her. We've had to simultaneously like wear the pants, be expected to wear the pants and portray this masculine energy while also being like feminine and soft. It's like fuck that shit. Like I am ready to be in put me in my full soft girl era. And I think that's where she is at right now, where she can like kind of let her guard down a little bit and like, safety has been a huge thing for her. She has like a crazy team and like security team and it's been so I think since like the Charlie Kirk thing, I think that personally that scared her a little bit because she is also a polarizing figure in a different way. Um, and there were reports that she was being walked into the stadium behind like this bulletproof screen. Like she doesn't want to be seen. She wants to be like fully protected. She clearly is not feeling safe, but like rightfully so. But like, at night she's going home with this hunk of a huge man. And like, what is safer than going to bed with someone like that? Yeah, hot. Yeah, good for you, sis. Yeah. And I think that's like the safety and security we're all looking for is somebody who is so like down for us. And yeah, that's important. No, yeah. But I think also like she wasn't at her most perfect moment. Like I think it's important to look at this. She was really vulnerable. She was really in like a not great space. We saw that with TTPD. We saw it as she was like going out onto this world tour. Like she was very candid about speaking about where she was at during that time. And then he just kind of like came in like a whirlwind. I don't think you necessarily have to be in the perfect space or the highest version of yourself, but you have to be, I think, first of all, like she's always even with all of the hurt that she's endured, that she's always been open to the possibility of this great love and don't lose sight of that. And I think for myself personally, like I kind of lose sight of that a little bit. I get wrapped up in like the scary feeling of it all. Like I am gonna be fucking alone forever, or like the fate of Ophelia. Like I kind of like feel that. Like you let everyone strip everything from you and then like there is nothing left. Yeah. No, I agree. Right. Right. Because we're seeing the highlight reel.
But that's just life.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You have to be willing to like work through those conflicts
And it's how to
yeah.
I'm sure that's not saying, not communicating anything.
Well, I think also what she talks about in the album is like he's really good at making the sunshine. Like, and I think that's an opalite. She talks about that. Is like there's going to be storms, there's going to be dark nights, but like you have to create your own sunshine. So like, how can you let that be? I know I love that relatable queen. I've talked about that before too. It's like these cozy home things, and I think getting back to like that village, that space of like the small circle that you surround yourself with and just like leaning on them. And I've been very candid about that too. Like I have a very strong, amazing support system. Yeah. And it doesn't come with its own, it comes with its own challenges at times. Don't get me wrong. Oh, yes, that's the theme of this podcast. Like we're all just trying the best that we can with what we have at this time. And like sometimes we don't always put our best foot forward. So how can we this word is very scary because it has a scary connotation, but how can we repent? And that is what I've been trying to convey to my partner. It's like when you did these things, when you hid these things from me, it made me feel this way. And if you can't see that, like if you're not willing to like rebuild or like kind of get back on the same page, like we are never going to be able to do that. And like life throws so many curveballs and like you're going to go through the deepest, darkest moments of your life with this person. And like, how can they be a support versus a hurt? And finding that person. And I think that's what she did. She found that person that's like really ride or die. Yeah. Yeah. And she's getting back like I know that feeling of like putting all of this love out and like feeling like you're not getting it back. And now it's like she's finally found somebody that can reciprocate that. So I'm happy for her. I honestly, if that's what you want for your life, I hope you find that. Some people are better like alone and they don't want to be in a relationship and that's fine. But I do. So I hope I find that in somebody. If God put it on your heart, there's a reason for it. This is the work that we need to do to stick it out. I think that's a good spot to end now that this podcast is going to be like 3 hours long. No, we'll just throw it all out there. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Nearly Enlightened podcast. If this conversation resonated with you, I would love it if you shared it, left a review, or if you want to reach out and chat more about it. And if you're looking for more ways to deepen your connection to body, mind, and spirit, check out my Meditate to Elevate, my guided meditation portal, or visit nearlyenlightened.com for more resources. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and remember the answers already lie within. See you next time.